Are you ready to scale AI agents through your organization?
I don't trust it.
Why won't they use AI?
Oh no, they're all using AI. Srini Raghavan leads the Microsoft team that helps the largest organizations succeed with adoption, measuring value, addressing risk, and really thriving with AI. Welcome to Agents at Work, where we sit down with Microsoft's leading experts to unpack how real-world agents and AI are transforming work today. My name is Topness, and today I'm here with Srini Raghavan, Corporate Vice President leading CAPE, the co-pilot agents and platform ecosystem at Microsoft. Hey, Srini.
Hey, Phil. Fantastic to be here.
Talk about CAPE. CAPE sounds like superheroes. What does CAPE do?
CAPE stands for Copilot Agents and Platform Ecosystem. And at the heart of it, we work with some of the largest and the most strategic customers and ISV partner and SI partners. It is a worldwide global organization. We work with customers and ISVs in every industry, every vertical industry.
You've been on a journey at Microsoft for a while. What is the moment or catalyst that started you working towards AI and agents?
One of the first pieces of experiences that I had was the Teams meeting. You go into every meeting, you go into every review, and you have to take notes. You have to recap the meeting, and you have to be able to understand who said what, when, and what document was shared, what was the context, and all the tens of different people who talk in the meeting. So I think being able to recap, and AI did a splendid job, right, in terms of being able to completely eliminate that part, which is very effectively being able to take notes, being able to just do a recap and a summary of everything that you can actually have said, talked, or acted on in the meeting itself. That was actually super magical. And being able to extend that now with the power of Graph, Microsoft Graph, which is every email, every conversation, chats, calendar, document, and apply the Copilot and AI on top of it. Imagine the amount of productivity and the gains that you can actually achieve, which is pretty awesome.
And can you think of a conversation you had with a specific customer or executive where you saw that moment turn, where they were like, shut it off, and you were like, no, look what we can do, and it enabled all the success you're talking about?
There's a couple of examples that come to mind. One is Pfizer, the pharmaceutical company Pfizer. While they do have, I think they have this, they have Copilot across all their employee base. And they do have a few internal agents that they have worked on about 300 to 400 different agents that they have using Copilot Studio. But the one thing that they wanted to actually do is, hey, can we turn this into an external agent? So if you go to today, healthanswers.pfizer.com, so they have a agent called Health Answers, which actually provides you some very authoritative responses and answers to medical questions, health questions, right? That is one example where they actually threw it open to the entire world. I think anybody can go and have access to it. And this was built with the Microsoft AI and our stack on the back end.
So a lot of organizations are looking at how do they adopt this with every employee? What's an example of an organization that really got it right and succeeded?
Yeah, I've seen large customers like EY, right? They actually have not just their internal processes, but also the services that they provide to their clients and customers, like audit, tax, compliance. So they rolled out M365 Copilot and started building out agents that actually helps in terms of their audit work and the tax and compliance work that they do for their customers, which actually would have taken them days and weeks to be able to go through certain set of documents, or let's say the regulatory filings that they currently have, and being able to just get very specific and targeted answers that actually saves them months of time in terms of having to do that. Something like 180% more efficient in terms of being able to do things faster and better.
Most organizations are like, show me the value. For the organizations that are really succeeding, how are they measuring value and what are they seeing?
That's a great question. It's a $100 million ROI question, right? If you will. There's a couple of different pieces. I would say stage one, focus around, things that you can actually measure, whether it is cost savings, number of hours saved, which actually translates directly into cost savings. For example, if it actually one person, typically you work for 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, right? And if this particular agent or if this particular piece of AI is actually help you save off, let's say, 20 hours. The second piece, which is also important, is also looking at it from an employee experience standpoint, right? Those are some intangible things like you won't be able to measure in terms of hard dollars and cents. I have seen a couple of examples where with customers, they actually talk about employee experience being greatly enhanced because of introduction of M365 Copilot, and mostly because it does interact with your work data. It does interact with your everyday documents that you actually use, which saves you a ton. It's actually a delight in some cases being able to just see how it can produce information that you otherwise would not have been able to do it. The one clearest way that I think customers can actually look it up today for Copilot is go to the Copilot Analytics dashboard. It does have information about ROI. It shows the usage, the users. It also gives you some information about ROI captured in the analytics dashboard.
Now, you mentioned that this world of AI and agents, it's a crowded space. There are a lot of competitors. Why should anybody watching this choose Microsoft?
I would say there are three pieces which actually makes it unique to why Microsoft. Number one is the trust factor, right? When it comes to enterprises, when it comes to some of the biggest and the most global organizations on the planet, right? They trust Microsoft because of the security posture, the compliance posture, the dependability that you have in terms of using us, purely in terms of how we actually provide service and use data, right? The second piece is the Microsoft 365 graph. And what the graph is, it's basically think of it as a repository of every email, every conversation, every chat, every meeting, every document, everything that you have in your enterprise. And also the combination of who do you work with? Phil, who do you work with? Who are the other players that you interact with? And that's the power of Microsoft Graph, right? And on top of the graph, there is something called Work IQ that we introduced recently at Ignite. And think of Work IQ as a bit more sophisticated graph data that can actually be used by Copilot to be able to give you access to build agents that you could never do before.
Srini, this has been a terrific discussion. Will you come back and do another one?
Heck yeah. Tell me
Talk
when.
for a little long there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thrilled to have been on this show. Phil, I really appreciate the opportunity. But yeah, I would love to come back and talk about another specific topic if you have, and share it with the customers and users across the board. So thank you.
What should we talk about? Comment below and set up another conversation, and Srini will be back. Thanks so much for being here today, Srini. Thanks for watching, everybody.